Yo, so this is NextGod Creations. If you are watching this video, that means you are interested in picture manipulation. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to break down how I created this beautiful art piece using Photoshop. So these are the images that I use in creating this picture manipulation. So I have two trees, one apple, one forest scene as my background, a door, window, a ladder, and a street view. So it's like a road in the jungle. So let's see how I did my composition. So I placed this image, the second image, the tree, here in my foreground. Then I placed the first image in the middle of the scene. Then I used this fourth image as my background. And for this image, the only thing I needed was the road. So I placed the road behind the tree in the middle. And because the title of the manipulation is forbidden fruit, I tried to use this apple to depict the fruit. So this is the apple. Then I made sure to hang it on the tree like this. Then I enlarged one of the apple and gave it a door, a ladder, and a window to create an apple house. Yeah, so this is basically the composition. But then after the composition, you have to add shadows, highlights, and other stuff to make the scene look very realistic. So let me show you how I added those shadows and highlights. Yeah, so now let's get through it, how I made the shadows and the highlights. So first of all, I imported this main image as my background. So let me show you here, this image. I made sure to enlarge it as my background image. But after enlarging it, I added curves to it. I used two curves. So I added curves to it, sorry. So I added the apple to the scene. Then I made sure to cut part of the apple. Then I inserted the door there. Then I gave it a shadow. So let's see the before. So before and after giving the shadow to the door. And I gave it a highlight to make it feel realistic. So after giving it a shadow, I gave it a highlight too. Then I made sure to darken the apple using levels. So this was the before and after. Now it feels a bit rare. So after doing that, I added another curves to create a highlight around the apple because of this sun here. So this sun here is supposed to reflect at the edges of the apple. So I used curve to create those highlights. Then it is white, so I needed to change the color of this highlight. So I used the color fill to change that color to orange because the color of the sun is orange. Yeah, so let's continue. I created a dark shadows around here. So this apple is sitting on the grass. So it shouldn't be brightened, it should be in a form of dark. So I use this empty layer, then using my brush tool, I made sure that my brush color is on black. Then I started painting. So that was how come I got this dark area. But if you look at the apple, it's like it is hanging in the air. So I use this masking to make sure that the apple is sitting on the ground and there is a grass glowing around it. Yeah, so basically how I did it was I copied this green background. Then I created a layer mask for it. Then using Ctrl I inverted the layer. Then I started painting. So that was how come I got the apple to fuse into the grass. So after doing that, I created adjustment layer for the whole thing to make sure that the scene looks a bit darker. Yeah. Then I added smoke to the scene. So the smoke is a brush that I've been using. So if I right click, then the name is dust, ground dust. Yeah, So it's a brush that I installed, so I use that one to create a smoke in the scene. Then I added a window to this side, so I created a shadow. So if you look, you see the shadow of the window. Then I gave it like a light coming out of the apple house. So this is the window. Then the shadows that I created for it to is this one. So shadows and highlights make your scene feel real. Then I added a levels around the edges of the shadow to make it look darker. So this was the before and after. Then after doing those stuffs, I added, let me see, I added a ladder. I added a ladder too on this side, and for the ladder I created another adjustment for those stuffs. So if you look at this image, I said I needed only the road for my scene. So this is it. So how I did this was I after erasing part of the images, the trees, I imported this road, and after importing it, what I did was I changed the blending mode to lighter color. So it was normal and I changed it to lighter color, and in order to blend it with the glass, I selected the image, or you can double click on the image like this, it will open this one. Then you make sure to adjust the underlying layer. So that is basically what I did. So let me see the before it was like this, and after playing with it I got something like this. So now I added hue to it. So I wanted the color of this road to match the greens, so I gave it a hue. So I dragged this one to the blues and I increased the saturation. So that was how come I was able to make the road color blend with the glasses. Then I added the tree to the scene. So these are the apples that I hanged on the tree. Sorry. So this is the apple. It is looking too white. I gave it levels to make it darker. Then I gave it highlight because of the sun from this side. I gave them highlight. So and I gave it a shadow too here. So shadows always will make your scene to look real. So this is the highlight for this apple too. The same process, so highlight and shadows for all the apples. So that was what I did. So now let me review all the apples. So now this is the tree. So you see now they are hanging on the tree, and for the tree I gave it a highlight. If you look at the final work, you will see that the tree is glowing. Yeah, so I used curve for that. So I created a curve. So if you look at the curve, you see I've increased the highlights, so the edges was looking a bit of whitish. Then I marked them out, then I brushed only the edges because I wanted the glow to affect only the edges. And after that I wanted to change the color from white to orange, so I used the color fill for that. Then I gave it more glow by using the curve, still duplicating the curve. Then I still use the hue adjustment to make sure that the color blends with the background. So this is before the hue and this is after the hue. And now I added more apples to the tree shadows. Yeah, so let me see something here. So I added another tree too to the scene, this one, but it wasn't my focus, so I used the Gaussian blur to blur it out like this. Then I added a curve to make it dark because my focus, I didn't want my audience to pay much attention to that tree. Then you see this side, I still copied part of these greens and I added it here. Then using the curves I darken it, then the hue adjustment layer to make sure it blends with the background. The same thing, I copied and paste, then I added curve to make it darker, then the hue adjustment to make sure it blends. Then I added another 3-2 to this side, but because it wasn't my focus, I made sure to blur it out using the Gaussian blur like this. Then I used the curves to darken it because that wasn't my focus. Then after that, this sunset here is supposed to affect everything in the scene, so I use the solid color to create that. So I create a solid color, then I decrease the I marked it out, then I use the brush to then decrease my my flow. Then I brushed out the areas that I wanted the sun to affect. So let's look at the before and after. You see the difference it is making now. Then I added this color lookup to do overall color corrections. Then after that, I sent everything to Camera Raw. Then I made my adjustments there. So this is the final look after Camera Raw. So before Camera Raw, after Camera Raw, before and after. So you see the difference that Camera Raw can make. So now I added a dark gradient here, then I added this text as the title, the forbidden fruit. So ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the end of the breakdown. Hope you subscribe to this channel and don't forget to stay tuned for more updates on tutorials, manipulation and other stuffs.